Antesh Sanskar Vidhi. The Antesh Sanskar is one of two of the most important ceremonies that can be afforded to any of God's children, according to the tenets of a Sanatan Dharma. In all the experiences, in all the events, in all the occurrences in a Hindu life, there are two times that are more important than the rest. In all of these instances, the individual is free to choose and decide what and how and when they do things, including birthdays, anniversaries, how money is spent, how assets are acquired, and all these things. And sometimes we choose to mark these events with celebration and different types of observances. These are known as sanskaras, and they include giving your child names, their first day at school, when they are christened, when they are married, when the house is built, when the vehicle is bought, and all these things. As we go about our lives, we can choose what we do. You can choose how you build this house. You can choose what vehicle you buy, what color, what model. You can choose what you do with your money. And like when you begin working, the old advice is when you get your first paycheck, you should do something with charity, like that. You can choose what you do. Other than that, on a day like today, one of the most important events, even though we are the most important person, the VIP, we're not in charge of what happens. We can't choose what we wear. We can't choose who attends or who says what or who does what, even though we are the most important person here today. On a day like today, just like our very first day on this earth, it depends entirely on the good nature and the good heart of all those who care for us. Even before we show up here on this earth, were it not for the good hands of the doctors and nurses and all these other people, long ago would be the midwives, many of us would not make it here on this earth. Many of us would not make it past the delivery room or the incubator in some cases. And then we're allowed to live our lives how we choose, how we feel. And we come to a day like today, which I call the second most important day. And today depends entirely on how we've touched lives and how we've made experiences and created memories with those who we've been so lucky to be around. And it gives rise to a day like a farewell like today. When how many of you would be here to offer your prayers, offer your wishes, and offer all good things in your heart and your minds for the peaceful transition of the soul and for the soul's journey to the hereafter. Today depends entirely on how we lived our lives. There are many who are not able to have received such honors like a funeral ceremony itself. There are those who have been lost for different reasons, those who will not have been found days after their passing, and not everybody is given this blessing, this wonderful send-off. Today is a day of thanksgiving where we are most appreciative and thankful for the life that has been lived. Today, all of you are taking the responsibility of ensuring that he becomes immortal. Immortal how? Not by just taking care of the last rites, but from now until forever, you are charged with ensuring that his memory stays alive. So for as long as you think of him in your heart, in your minds, and for as long as you tell people that come afterwards, when you tell his children's grandchildren of the many memories that you've created, of the many instances that you shared laughter and smiles and joy, their children will tell their children and their children of how great a man he was and what sort of legacy was put in place. They will be able to know on whose shoulders they stand and on whose blood, sweat, and tears their generations are able to carry on a proud family name. Today, is the first day of your job in ensuring that he becomes immortal. It is said in many cultures around the world that for as long as we are remembered, so long we remain alive in the hearts and minds of all of our people. Only when we are forgotten after we have gone, then we truly disappear from this life, from the history books. In this way, according to Sanatana Dharma, it says that on the day of the funeral, may all those who would keep God's child, God's very own, in their hearts and their minds and wish the best, come together and collectively pray. However you wish to address the divine, however you wish to address the Almighty, it is inevitable that from ashes to ashes and dust to dust, air, wind, water, fire, and space, we believe that the five elements that have created this body will be allowed to return to their origin today. By the chanting of the verses and the rituals and the prayers, we're asking that with the 5 stops that we'll be making, may the 5 elements be allowed to be returned to where they've come from their origin, and then allow the physical body to be accepted by the sacred fire, and then allow the soul to begin its journey to the hereafter. Today, these gentlemen have taken it upon themselves to, on your part, on your behalf, perform this ceremony. Therefore, even though they thought they could have prepared themselves, it is something that you really can't properly and thoroughly prepare yourself for. They would not like to make any mistakes, because unlike painting this house and changing your mind a month after you paint it over, or like buying some clothes and changing your mind and give it away and buy something new, if we do anything here today that we don't like, we can't do it back tomorrow or next week. Therefore, they need to focus entirely on what I'm going to tell them and how we go ahead with the procedure, which means they need your absolute cooperation and understanding. So, if you must speak to anyone during the ceremony, please guide them to the back on that side or to the road and speak to them, so that whenever you speak to them, you won't disturb these boys. As well as technology has come so far, you can, and I guarantee you, you can put the phone on quiet, silent, vibrate, miss 100 calls and get back to every single one. Gone are the days where the phone has to be in the house and ring off the hook, and you have to get the answering machine, and if you don't have an answering machine, well then, you just missed the call. Guarantee, next half an hour or so, whatever calls you miss, whatever messages, you could get back to them. We have come so far that we could spare a few minutes for a ceremony like this here today. Samjay? Oh, that means do you agree? Good. Therefore, with that understanding, please all stand if you can. Bow your heads, close your eyes as we begin the ceremony. Hari Om Keshvaya Namo Namaha Govindaya Namo Namaha Vasudevaya Namo Namaha. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Vishnu 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 Adya Sri Brahmane Dvitiye Varade Sri Sveta Vraha Kalpe Vaivasvat Manvantare Ashtavintatame Kali Yuge Kalipatamacharana Jambu Dwepe Atlantic Mahasagre West Indies Kande Trinidad Deshe Gaspral Sigrami. Fellas, mention the address here. Bedosanagare Punyakshetre Bhavavatare Varatamane Yatanam Samvatsara Amuka Ayane Amuka Mase. Mention the date for me, the day, the number, the month and the year. Amuka Masi, Amuka Pakshamukata, Amuka Vasara, Amuka Nakshatra, Amuka Yoga, Amuka Karani, Amuka Rasi, Site Surya, Amukarasi Sitesha Shanke Cha Shasheshu Graheshu Yata Yata Rasi Stana Staneshu Amagotrasya Amukanamaha Amukabretasya. Mention dad's full name. Antishti karama aham karishye Hari Om Yam Brahma Varindrudramaruta Sunvanta Divyavaistavai Vedai Sangha Parikramoshapanishadai Gayantiyam Samgra Dhyana Vashtita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyandam Naviro Sura Suragana Devai Tasmai Namo Namaha Hari Om. Today, by the witness of all of you who are here, and by the declaration of on this day, at this time, at this place, these gentlemen who are standing in front will perform the rites that are connected and are concerned with the disposal of the physical remains of one of God's very own children, God's very own son. And for the rest of days that are continuing, they would maintain the fast and all other connected activities in the hope and in the prayer that may all things that are done, may the blessing not be given to them, but the blessing be given to his soul for wherever he would have to travel, for whatever his journey would entail. As of today, we are relinquishing the family relationship, and we are asking for the understanding that we should know that as of today, he is now the soul which had always belonged to God. He is now being returned to God. And we ask and pray that for whatever his journey would entail, may the angels of the heavens guide him, give him companionship, and show him all that he would have to enjoy as his rewards in the heavens. Hari Om Shantakaram Bhojagachayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gaganasadrasham Meghavarnam Subhagam Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanainam Yogi Varjanagamyam Vande Vishnu Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokekanatam Sarvalokekanatam Hari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. You could have your seats. Right hand like this. Let your left hand touch your right hand. Left hand. Your left hand. No. Like this. Let your left hand touch your right. Alright. Touch me. The first gentleman here, my brother, will assist in the ceremony as it is. Well, actually, I'm going to assist him. All I'm here for is to guide and to assist with the ceremony and the rituals. They are performing the actual ceremony, and they will stay connected as you see them here for offering the water for the spiritual and the ceremonial path, offering of the Chandan, the essence, incense, and the flowers, the mala, which is to beautify and bedeck the body. Why is this done? We are making this presentation beautiful because this physical body is a gift. In no other place in our known universe can life like this be enjoyed. Saturn, Mars, Jupiter, the moon, our own sun. And if you think further out, Sirius, Pollux, Antares, Betelgeuse, all these other huge planets, hundreds of thousands of times bigger than our Earth, cannot sustain life like we can. This Earth is very, very special. It is the home of God's very own creation. Therefore, When souls ask God for a chance to be here on earth, it is a gift that is given. The physical body is a gift that is given to enjoy this life. Therefore, today, we are preparing this gift to return to its maker. They will touch hands, as you see there, and when to offer the arti, they will offer arti individually. When the occasion of the arti comes closer, I will explain how all of you can take part and offer your own prayers at that time. Right hand, you'll hold this. Wait, sprinkle right here, like from your shoulders go down, 5 times. This is like the ceremonial bathing. Hari Om Adhyam Kagotrasya Mukavretasya Mritishtaneshtavanimitam Snanam Yadiyate Tava Upadishatam. Good. Right hand, ring finger, mix it up. Good. Each time I tell you where to put the Chandan, you'll dip each time after that. So dip on the forehead and then by both ears, under the chin, and by both wrists. Good? Dip again. Adhyamagotrasya Mukapretasya Mitishtaneshtavanimita Chandanam Yadiyate Tava Upadishatam Harihi Om. Dip. Touch right up. Right up. Right. Next side. Right there. Chandanam Yadiyate Tava Upadishatam Govindaya Namo Namaha Vasudevaya Namo Namaha. Adhyamagotrasya Mukapretasya Mitishtaneshtavanimitam Gandham Yadiyate Tava Upadishatam. Wait. Take mala each. Pull the string on top now. Pull the string on top. That's all right. Let go. Okay. Harihi Om Adhyamakagotrasya Mukapretasya Mitishtaneshtavanimita Pushpam Yadiyate Tava Upatishatam Govindaya Namo Namaha Vasudevaya Namo Namaha. Around this one. Open. Adhyamakagotrasya Mukapretasya Mitishtaneshtavanimita Pushpam Yadiyate Tava Upatishatam Krishna Govindaya Namo Namaha Vasudevaya Namo Namaha. Offering of the incense, Dhoop. Harihi Om Adhyamakagotrasya Mukapretasya Mitishtaneshtavanimita Dhoopam Yadiyate Tava Upatishatam Sri Krishna Govindaya Namo Namaha Vasudevaya Namo Namaha. Now the Arty. Arty is the offering of light. light symbolizes the offering of care, the offering of love, the offering of all that we wish would be good. A few weeks ago, for those of you who are from here, a few weeks ago when we had the nationwide blackout and this entire street was in darkness, if you had one candle or one match green or one dia anywhere here, that would remove and illumine the darkness for the entire street. One candle if you had. And you could have seen that light from as far down as the corner there or as far up as you could see. The smallest of light would remove any amount of darkness. Light in this ceremony here today is the offering of all our love, all our care. For whatever the journey to the hereafter would entail, you wish that all good things would follow him. Place to rest, food, water, shelter, all these things. Whatever the soul would need, may the attendance of the Lord ensure that these are done. The Arty will go like this. These 5 boys will perform Arty first. First you'll go right here, stand in the center, and 5 times head to feet. Right? When you're done, head to feet, then you're going to stay connected, all of you, touch hands. You're going to hold the Arty like this, facing inside. Keep a safe space around and walk around 5 times. When you've walked around 5 times, then you give it to uncle. You'll stay in the center 5 times, head to foot. When you're finished, next one, next one, next one. Each time when you're finished with the Arty, whoever it is, you give to the next person. You finish Arty here, you're going to come around and just bow by the feet. When these 5 boys are finished with the Arty, everybody else who wishes to perform Arty can do so. Now, if you don't wish to do the Arty itself for any reason, then you can come and offer your flowers. If you're doing the Arty, it's flowers first, then Arty, and then you go around and you bow by the feet. If you're not doing the Arty for your own reasons, you can offer your flowers at that time and offer your prayer. If you're not going to offer the Arty or the flowers, and you wish to come and offer your personal prayer at that time, that is also okay. So at the time of the Arty, when we're chanting the bhajans and chanting the verses, whichever of the 3 you want to do, flowers, Arty and prayer, good. Flowers and prayer, also good. You just want to offer your personal prayer, also good. Agreed? We good? All right. Center. 5 times, head to feet. Hari Om. Please stand for the Arty. If you can remain standing for the entirety of these 5 boys doing their Arty, perfect. If you cannot, and you have to sit at any point in time, then that is okay. But at least for when these 5 boys do their Arty, please stay connected. Mom, you don't have to. You're alright, don't worry. For any physical reason you can't stand is okay. Stay connected, boys, and face the Arty towards the inside. Go around 5 times. Hari Om Adhyam Kugotrasya Mukapretasya Matishthane Shtavanimita Deepam Yadiyate Tavopadishatam. Hari Om Adhyam Kugotrasya Mukapretasya Pratishtane Shtavanimita Deepam Yadiyate Tava Upadishatam. Yamadvare Mahagore Andena Tamasrita Tatra Lota Kranataya Deepo Yam Upatishatam. Harihi Om. Sangascha Prativibhi Samayame Isha Purtena. Harihi Om सूर्यचक्षुर्गच्छतु वर्तमानार्यां च गच्छ पृथिवीं च धर्मणा आपो वा गच्छयति तत्र हि ते हितम् औषधीषु प्रतितिष्ठ शरीरैः हरिः ओम् अध्यमुखगोत्रस्य अमुकप्रेतस्य मृतिष्ठानेष्टवन्निमित हरिः ओम् मध्यमुखगोत्रस्य मुखप्रेतस्य मृतस्थानेशवनिमित दीपं मया दीयते तव उपतिष्ठताम् You walk around and you bow there. Uncle, you stay in the middle. 5 times, head to feet, Arty, and then you hand it to your brother next to you. जय कृष्ण हरे श्री कृष्ण हरे दुखियों को दुख दूर करे जय 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 कृष्ण हरे जय कृष्ण हरे श्री कृष्ण हरे दुखियों को दुख दूर करे जय 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 कृष्ण हरे जब चार तरफ अंधियारा हो आशा का दूर किनारा हो जब चार तरफ अंधियारा हो आशा का दूर किनारा हो और कोई न केवन वाला हो फिर तू ही पेरा पार करो जय 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 कृष्ण हरे जय कृष्ण हरे श्री कृष्ण हरे दुखियों को दुख दूर करे You done? Good. You come this side. Alright, so the immediate family first. Don't all rush at once. As many of the flowers that you wish to take from this side or here, you can take flowers. Everyone has a chance to perform the arti. Leave it there. Hari Om. Same procedure. You'll put the flowers first if you're doing so. Then the arti. Then you go around and you bow by the feet. If you can stay standing with me, then great. If not, then you can have a seat if you need to. Hari Om. तू चाहे तो सब कुछ कर दे विष को भी अमृत कर दे तू चाहे तो सब कुछ कर दे विष को भी अमृत कर दे around this way पूरन कर दे सबकी आशा place it there and come around this side mom पूरन कर दे सबकी आशा place the flowers पूरन कर दे सबकी आशा जो भी तेरा ध्यान रे फिर जो भी तेरा ध्यान रे जय 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 कृष्ण हरे जय कृष्ण हरे श्री कृष्ण हरे दुखियों को दुख दूर करे जय 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 कृष्ण हरे जय 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 कृष्ण हरे जय 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 कृष्ण हरे Again, put the flowers first, then do the arti, then you walk around and bow. Go ahead. You need? Bring all these stems here, no? So they don't have to walk back and forth. They could just do one movement, one circular motion from here. Hari Om. Yeah. Jyoti Janma Gavaya Sadhu. With regards to who can do arti, only the sons-in-law. Everybody else gets to do arti and put the flowers. Only the sons-in-law themselves can do the actual arti. Sure. Jyoti Janma Gavaya Sadhu. Jyoti Janma Gavaya Sadhu. Jyoti Janma Gavaya. एक पिता के हम सब लड़के धरती हमारी माता. एक पिता के हम सब लड़के धरती हमारी माता. कुटुंब कबीला संगन साथी. कुटुंब कबीला संगन साथी. कालडंक बजाया साधु. ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु. ज्योति जन्म गवाया. ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु. ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु. ज्योति जन्म गवाया. दो दिन का पहुनाई जगत में माया में भरमाया. दो दिन का पहुनाई जगत में माया में भरमाया. धन दौलत कुछ काम न आवे. धन दौलत कुछ काम न आवे. ज्योति जय यह काया साधु. Stay ready, stay ready, stay ready, stay ready. Sing the center. 5 times from the center. ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु. ज्योति जन्म गवाया. सत्संग का गंग बही है कोमल जिसकी धारा. सत्संग का गंग बही है कोमल जिसकी धारा. करिय स्नान विमल कर काया. करिय स्नान विमल कर काया. पापिन पाप कराया साधु. ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु. ज्योति जन्म गवाया. ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु. ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु. ज्योति जन्म गवाया. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. While you all are being so disciplined and so quiet in performing the arati and offering your love and your prayer, those of you who would like to share words with all of us who are here can do so now.
So, good morning, everyone, and thank you all for coming out here today to celebrate the life of my grandfather, Gajadhar Persad, who is better known to all as Clyde. My name is Amish, and for those of you who don't know me, I am the firstborn of his 9 grandchildren. You might also know my father, Dave, and my mother, Christine, who unfortunately could not be here today, but who asked me to express to everyone their sincerest apologies for being absent and let you all know that their thoughts and prayers are with us all. Unlike a lot of you here, I didn't have the opportunity to spend a lot of time with my grandfather, other than the occasional visit or phone call. Most of what I learned about Grandpa Clyde was what my grandma Polly, parents, uncles, and aunts taught me. And no matter who I spoke to, I would always hear that he was a quiet man who never quarreled with anyone, and who was always willing to give you a hand if you asked. Grandpa Clyde was a simple man, never in a hurry, never looked stressed out, and always ready for a good line. My grandfather was the son of the late Samde Persad and Harry Persad Suchit, and he was one of 7 children. He grew up in the village of Tabland and moved to Gasparillo in the early 1970s, where he was soon followed by his brother Ronald, now deceased. He was the husband of Indarde Persad, better known as Polly, the father of Dave, Ravi, and Vidya, father-in-law of Lucky, Christine, and Kavita, and he was also the grandfather of 9. My grandfather was an auto mechanic by trade, and because of this, he was well known and respected throughout the community. He was not a man of many words or a conversation starter, but once the bottle cracked open, words would start flowing faster than the liquor would. He loved the simple things in life, especially making a cook and having some drinks with his boys. He loved that wild meat, hog head, and of course that cattle tongue dumpling. I could go on, but I don't want to make you all hungry. Grandpa Clyde was a hard-working man, and in his prime years would be from sunup to sundown in his garage. He was one of the best old iron mechanics, my father told me, and I hear he was an Austin Morris specialist. I hear his skills was so good that he could strip a V8 engine down to its bare block and rebuild it all by himself, and that's from someone who has never had any formal training, which I think is very impressive. I believe he came from a generation that knew the value of hard work. The stories about my grandfather are plentiful. Over the years, I've heard so many that I've lost count. But I want to wrap up by saying that he was a respectable man in the community that was loved by everyone and will be missed a lot. In his own way, he brought a joy to those around him, and I will always remember him with a smile on my face, or on his face. I appreciate and thank you all coming out to remember my grandfather, Gajadhar Clyde Persad, and allowing me the opportunity to share the few memories of him. I know he would have been very happy to know that in some way he touched the lives of all of you all. May he continue to be remembered in our hearts, and may he rest in peace.
Anybody else? Feel free. Yes, sir.
Good day, everyone. My name is Timal Takari, Gajadhar Persad, last brother-in-law, and I'm happy to be here today to celebrate in the life of Clyde. For he was a great man in the family, as he got married to my sister over 50 years ago. I was just 6 at that time. And Clyde was always courteous. He was always gentle. And he was always loving. I have never heard a harsh word from Clyde. He was always that quiet and easygoing person. But when coming to do things, to cooperate, putting the family together, he was there first in hand. Nobody would have believed that this Clyde was responsible for holding the family generally and his own family, his children, keeping them together, keeping them nurtured and guided with proper parenting. And today is the day that God is ready for him. His turn has reached. But oh yes, Clyde soul has a very good place in heaven. For the little that I know him, that was only about 52 years. Clyde has always been doing good things. I don't think anybody here could say Clyde has hurt their feelings. And today, God has taken him back. God realized this child of his has had enough. He has completed his duties on earth. He has created the karmas that is necessary to return back to the subtle region, the soul's world. And I now vouch to say that he was good sport as well. Clyde was a man, you would see him quiet, you would see him moving easily. But when coming to hunting, Clyde was no easy Tom. I remember we went hunting and Clyde wouldn't let any of the beasts get away. If it skipped, Clyde will rough at it and hold it down. I could attest to that. So this is the man today, this honorable great man, who is well loved in Gasparillo. I have never heard anybody saying that Clyde is a bad man. Any one of you here in this gathering, raise your hand and say Clyde is a bad man. Nobody. People will come at my business place and say, boy, Clyde do so and so for me. Clyde fixing my vehicle. Clyde, they always have a good thing to say about Clyde. I mean, nobody is perfect, you know. But there and then, let me extend appreciation to the people who cared for him in his life, throughout his life. Starting with his caregiver, Andrea. She has done an excellent job with him. She has done a job that has been accepted by the entire family. And we must now thank her for this great service that she had done in even extending of Clyde's life, because if it wasn't for her, he would have passed a long time. I must extend gratitude to his in-laws, nephews and nieces, who was always there for Clyde, who always look for him, who always hold him in high esteem. Thank you for this, what you have done. Today, this is the end of it. Clyde, it is the last moment that Clyde could say thanks to you in this physical body, but in a subtle way. And to his immediate family, let me say thanks to you for all that you have done for Clyde, for making sure his sustenance, his support, his finances was all in place. It was intact. Thanks to you, to the kids, Dave, Ravi, Vidya, and Polly, who was like that mother in his life, always guiding him. Clyde, stop the drinking. Clyde, stop the smoking. But at the end of it all, he goes say, you giving me money for that? And as soon as he hear Polly voice, say, tell she are busy now. So, my boy, God's blessing to you, and all the best for the rest of this journey, and all the best in God's world. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Man Manabhav. Om Man Manabhav. Om Man Manabhav.
Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mame Vaishati Satyamte Pratigyani Prayosime. That is the first line of chapter 18, verse 65 of Bhagavad Gita, where Bhagavan Krishna said, do everything in my name. Do everything with me in your heart. Do everything as an act of service towards me. If you dedicate all your days and all your time, all your actions to me, then over time, Everything you do will be because of me. And at the end of your days, you shall come straight to me. It doesn't matter if it's the words of the Bhagavad Gita or the Quran or the Bible. God would want you to do everything with Him in mind. You know why? Because all of us are God's children. And in the same way that any parent is happy if someone does something for their child in their absence, think of you sending your child to someone's home for a vacation or something, daycare, preschool, primary school, and something happens to your kid and you can't be there, and then you are assured that by the actions or the assistance of somebody else, your child is being taken care of. The immense relief you would feel is something that can't be measured. In the same way, once we are all here on this earth, all of us are God's children. And the more we can take our time, the more we can take our efforts and our resources to help each other, we are actually helping all of God's children. Because in one of the prayers that we chant, it says, Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva. God, you're my mother, God, you're my father. And if we really are thinking that God is our parent, then we are supposed to be all God's children. There's one verse in the Upanishad that says, Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu, may all the world be happy. If we would think and go about our days with this in mind, then we will be living up to the job that God gave us. And we all actually have the same job, no matter what your career is. Say he was a mechanic. Some people are chefs. Some are teachers. Some are lawyers. Some are doctors. Some into sanitation. Some drive taxi. No matter what your job is, you have the same purpose on this earth. And that is to do as much good as you can, for as many people as you can, for as long as you can. When you get some time, you'll think about this and see how true it is. Your job on this earth is to do as much good as you can, for as many people as you can, for as long as you can. You're a doctor, lawyer, teacher, you pick up the garbage, you clean the drain, you're a pundit, you do the music, you fix the stuff for the puja, you're a chef, you're a, I was going to say politician, but every job that you have, every vocation, do that the best way. You drive taxi, clean the car, fill the gas, fill the diesel, pick up people, drop them safely every single time they stop you to drop you somewhere. You're a chef, cook the food the best way you could. Make sure people are happy when they buy the food. You're the pundit, so whenever somebody calls, like Auntie Polly was asking me yesterday if I knew someone from Reform and all these things, and I said, yeah, I know him so long. So since then I've been of service to that family, and now I'm of service to your family. No matter who calls, when they call. A couple days ago, when I met Laura Lee and they, just about 2 years ago, it was the first time I came into contact with this family. I could have said, I don't know you guys, I have no idea who you are, I've never met you, and I can't come. But do as much good as you can, for as long as you can, for as many people. Anybody calls for me to do puja, funeral, ceremony, anything like that, I have to go. That's a promise. Whatever you do, make that promise. Like the mechanic. Fix anybody's car. Fix it the best way you know how. For as long as your hands could turn those tools. Fix. Do. Advise. Help. Bring a smile to everybody's face. Man mana, bhavamat bhakto. Do everything as a service to God. Because inevitably we owe it to God to make this entire world, samastaloka, sukhino bhavantu, make the whole world happy. Make the whole world eventually, hopefully, one happy family. Vrindavan, Bihadilalaki, Chai. There are two more things to do before we make any movements towards the roadway and towards the vehicle. That is offering of the first pinda, which is the commencement of asking the 5 elements to return to their origin, as well as there is something in the Sanatan Vishwa Dharma known as the Panchak ritual, which is 5 days in the month where certain things are inauspicious and require extra rituals. That will be done as well, and then we shall have the closing for this part. And the regulations have been lifted to a point where it's any number of us can be at the cremation site. But still, the pandemic is not over. Whoever of us are going down there, still maintain some sort of distance, keep your masks on, all these things. We are not the only people going down there today. Since the ban on the open fire stuff has been lifted, every day it's full capacity at the Creek, Waterloo, and Caroni. So exercise caution when you get there, and be careful amongst everybody else who were there. Okay, so now the Pinda offering. Boys, line up like you did the first time. Keep this in your hand. Go ahead. तं यच्चम्यो रावणीमहे घातुं यज्ञाय यज्ञपतये दैवी सहस्रमानुषेभ्यः पूर्वं जगातु भेषजं शं द्विपदेशं चतुष्पदे हरिः ॐ सहस्रशीर्षो पुरुषः सहस्राक्ष सहस्रपात् स भूमिं वृष्वतो हृत्वा अर्चतिष्ठद्दशाङ्गुलं. Take from the back, help him. पुरुष एवेरगुं सर्वं यद्भूतं यच्च भव्यं हुतामृत्यवेशानः यरन्नेनातिरोहति एतावान्यस्य महिमा तो छायागुंश पूरुषः पालो स विश्वभूतानि त्रिपाजा संवृतं दिवि. Empty cover. Perfect. Good. Alright, boy, turn the money back. Right. Put it on side. Stand up right there. Take back your line. Hands together. If you can, if you're able, please stand right where you are. जो ध्यावे पल पावे दुख बिन से मन का स्वामी दुख बिन से मन का सुख संपत्ति घर आवे सुख संपत्ति घर आवे कष्ट मिटे तन का. ओम जय जगदीश हरे. मात पिता तुम मेरे शरण गहूँ जिसकी स्वामी शरण गहूँ जिसकी तुम बिन और न दूजा आश करूँ मैं किसकी. ओम जय जगदीश हरे. तुम करुणा के सागर तुम पालन करता स्वामी तुम पालन करता मैं सेवक तुम स्वामी कृपा करो भरता. ओम जय जगदीश हरे. तुम करुणा के सागर तुम हो एक स्वामी अपने हाथ उठाओ द्वार पर आ तेरे. ओम जय जगदीश हरे. दीन बंधु दुख हरता तुम रक्षक मेरे अपने हाथ उठाओ अपने शरण बढ़ाओ द्वार पर आ तेरे. ओम जय जगदीश हरे. जय जगदीश हरे. स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे. भक्त जनों के संकट दास जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे. ओम जय जगदीश हरे. हरि ओम. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभाव करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धु च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्याद्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव. ॐ अनादिनिधनो देवो शङ्खचक्रगदाधर अक्षय पुण्डरीकाक्ष प्रेत मोक्ष प्रदो भव. ओम आत्म शांति. ओम आत्म शांति. ओम आत्म शांति. वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. राम नाम सत्य है. राम नाम सत्य है. राम नाम सत्य है. Thank you very much for being here and being so cooperative, understanding, and disciplined throughout this morning's ceremony, the first part of the ceremony. Have a few minutes for yourselves before we make arrangements to proceed towards the front of the house and towards the vehicle, and then make our way towards the ocean. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai.
This